Now, while I walk to the last part of the University of Buea, I want to answer one of the questions I get asked all the time. What are some jobs that you can do as a student in the University of Buea? And the first thing I would like to say is that the University of Buea is in Buea, and because the university and so many other professional institutes have come to this city, the kind of jobs that are available for students in this place is now almost like the same kind of jobs that are available in every other student milieu. For example, if you happen to study in other countries, you're going to realize that there's just a kind of job that students will always be exposed to. And one of the jobs that are exposed to students is restaurants, working in restaurants as waiters. Like in any other student community in the world that I've happened to be exposed to, the first job that is always like the easiest job for students to get, working as waiters in restaurants. You know, it's very easy for you to pick up a job as a waiter in a restaurant in Buea compared to any other thing. Now, the challenge working in a restaurant brings is that it is difficult to find a place that will be flexible enough for you to work part-time in the place and part-time as a student. So if you're interested in working as a student when you get to Buea, the first thing you should do is check out the restaurants. I bet you there are like 300 different restaurants in Buea, and most of these places always need somebody to hire. You know, you can be lucky enough to find a restaurant who would hire you for an evening shift or an afternoon shift or just a morning shift. And the fact that many more students want to work, employers themselves have also come to understand that the best thing they can do is make it more flexible for the students who want work in their places. Now, the next job you can do as a student, if you find yourself around Buea or any other student milieu, is a shop attendant. Now, there are many businesses as well that have come in Buea, both on campus and off campus, that give room for you as a student. And so if you have time on your plate like a student, you can move around the university community, you can move around the city and find shops. There are many big shops that are there that will be open to hiring you and employing you. And of course, as a student, probably working part-time as a shop attendant in some of these supermarkets and shops, you may not be paid compared to somebody who is working full-time, the same salary and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that you will be paid enough that is going to be able to take care of your bills and stuff. Now, the next job that you can do as a student around the university community is that you can work, like we call it here, démarché, or in English, a middleman. So there are probably business people who have things to sell. There are probably institutions and places and stuff that have stuff to sell, and you can work like a middleman. You can take those things, advertise them, and once you get a client who wants those things, you take it, sell them, and give the money you took for the item you took from the shop, and keep whatever commission that comes on that exchange. Now, this needs a little bit of learning and takes a little bit of searching and trying to know exactly what product or service you're going to sell that will be able to give you guaranteed commission. But it's something I've seen students make some money from. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is a way that I've seen many students self-sufficient make money to ensure that they are self-sufficient, is working online. Now, the internet brings a whole lot of opportunities that offline doesn't give. You know, you can be in your room as a student and offer your service as a freelancer to people all over the globe. You know, there are companies in America, in UK, in China, in Australia, even in other parts of the world that need your service, you know. So if you can sell your service as a freelancer, you're going to make some money. And personally, as a student, that was how I was able to take care of my bills. I was able to sort out myself, and I was able to live a comfortable life as a student. I worked as a freelancer for many years, I think like 5 years of my life as a student. Of course, it was challenging because you would need to make out time to work, you would need to dedicate time to deliver orders and stuff, and depending on how competitive the service as well you want to offer for freelance is, it takes a kind of steep learning curve. But yeah, it's also a good opportunity for you as a student. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is teaching languages. This is something that over in recent time has become like a strong source of income for students who find themselves doing it. You know, there are students who teach English language to people who want to write English as a second language exams, and who want to write the IELTS and the TOEFL and all the other English language exams. You know, the advantage we have is that English is our first language. It comes to us naturally, but there are other countries who don't speak English as a first language. And so for those people, they have to learn English. They have to practice English with somebody who is a native English speaker. And that brings the opportunity for you as a student. The average student should be able to speak English very well. And it brings an opportunity for you to teach the little English that you know to somebody in China, in Thailand, in Japan, in all of these countries that don't have English as a first language, and earn some money on the side. Now, it would take a little bit of learning, a little bit of trial and error to get it straight, but yeah, it is an opportunity that you cannot ignore. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is that sometimes as a student, you're not going to be able to find any of these forms of work that I've mentioned. You're going to do the last thing, which is volunteer your service. And I think this is the most profitable way a student can use to make most of their time when they are on campus. I bet you that Buea has hundreds of organizations and institutions who would permit you to come and do volunteerism. Now, the catch with volunteerism is that you don't get paid. You don't get paid a salary. But I know that most of these places who take on volunteers are kind enough to substitute your transport expenses for a month. And so if you come to the university as a student, rather than wasting your time and lazing around, find a place that will be able to give you a volunteering opportunity. Find a place that you can go there and volunteer your service. And as you learn in class and volunteer your service, let's take for example, you're learning software development in school, and you find a place that you can volunteer your service as a software developer. By the time you're getting off campus, you would have learned enough, you would have had enough experience, and you would have had enough technical know-how, which will make getting a job very easy for you. And so yeah, sometimes don't be caught up with trying to find a job. Sometimes look for a place that you can volunteer your service in school, so much so that as you're learning the theory in school, you're doing practicals on the job. The truth is that the University of Buea isn't as practical as I would have loved it to be. I don't know the case now. 13 years is a lot of time for things to have changed on the University of Buea. But then I still know that many students who come here don't get enough practical opportunities as they deserve. So volunteering your time as a student is the biggest blessing you can do for yourself. Now, I'm going to end this video by saying that whether you want to work or not, is totally dependent on how intense your classes are as a student. Personally, I was in UB studying physics, and working was very challenging because I had classes Monday to Saturday, sometimes from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the evening. And so there was hardly ever time to work. If I had to work, it means I had to do it late at night, or I just had to push myself to the extra mile to do it. So you have to look at your schedule, you have to look at your reality, you have to look at your schedule and what you are doing in school. Does it permit you to get a job? Does it permit you to volunteer your service? If it doesn't, focus on your academics. I'm going to end this video by saying that you came to UB to study first. Of course, there are going to be challenges and pressure. And of course, one of the challenge every student gets is that they never have enough money to foot their expenses on campus. But hey, don't let that distract you and take you out of campus. University of Buea and any other institution of learning that you find yourself in can be the gateway to your success in this life. But it can also be the reason why you are going to remain stuck in life if you don't take it serious. And so yeah, choose to struggle for 3 years, have a degree, and put yourself on a track in life that would give you higher chances of success than come here and be distracted and spend your entire time not having the degree and going forward to struggle in life. I know there are thousands of resources all over the internet today that are telling you to get into entrepreneurship, get into business, and get into a job and all of those stuff. But I tell you the truth, in our economy, in most African economies and in many economies of the world, the only way you can put your leg in the door is when you have academic credentials. Your academic credentials will open the doors for you. But what is going to keep you in is your technical know-how and the experience and the skills that you bring into that place. So yeah, come to campus, focus on learning, but don't get distracted.